Welcome back to our channel. If you're into coin collecting or just looking to strike gold with a rare find, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into the top 10 ultra-rare wheat pennies that could bring you a huge payday in today's collector market. Let's get started. First up, explore the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your coin journey, this video is for you. We'll explore the historical background of the 1945 wheat penny, examine its features, talk about its condition, and of course give you the big question everyone's asking: what's its market value today, especially in fine condition? Let's start with some history. The 1945 wheat penny was minted during a significant time in U.S. history. The final year of World War II pennies like this one were a part of everyday American life during a time of economic growth, war bonds, and rationing. Even though the war was coming to an end, copper was still a critical material for the war effort. In fact, the year before, in 1943, pennies were made of steel to conserve copper. But by 1945, the mint was back to producing pennies with their regular copper composition. The 1945 wheat penny was struck at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin has no mint mark, like the one we're discussing today, that means it was minted in Philadelphia, the nation's main minting facility. Now let's take a closer look at this iconic coin. On the obverse, we have Abraham Lincoln's portrait, which has been featured on the penny since 1909 in honor of his 100th birthday. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see the words "In God We Trust," and to his right, the word "Liberty," which has remained on U.S. coins since the country's founding. Below Lincoln is the date 1945, with no mint mark confirming it was minted in Philadelphia. On the reverse, we have the famous wheat ears that give this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. The wheat stalks flank the words 1 cent with United States of America below it. At the top, we see E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design was used from 1909 to 1958, making it a favorite among collectors today, and the 1945 wheat penny is one of the last to feature this iconic image before the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced in 1959. Next, let's talk about condition. The value of any coin heavily depends on its grade, and today we're focusing on the 1945 wheat penny in fine condition. In numismatics or coin collecting, fine condition refers to a coin that has moderate wear but still retains most of its design features. For a 1945 wheat penny in fine condition, Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks may be slightly worn down, but all key details should still be visible. It's not quite as crisp as an uncirculated or extra fine penny, but a coin in fine condition still holds significant value, especially if it's over 75 years old like this one. Alright, now to the part everyone's been waiting for: what's the market value of a 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition today? The 1945 wheat penny is uncommon, with over 1 billion minted that year. However, rare coins can still have value depending on condition and demand. In fine condition, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark typically sells for about $290,000 today. Now, that might seem like much at first glance. Keep in mind that the coin's face value is just 1 cent. Collectors who are looking to complete their sets and investment, or who appreciate the history behind these coins, often seek out wheat pennies in various conditions, and prices can vary. Some coins in exceptional condition, or with historical errors, could fetch higher prices. For a standard 1945 penny, fine condition typically commands this highest value in today's collector market. So why should you still collect the 1945 wheat penny, even if it's worth a fortune? Well, it's a tangible piece of history from a pivotal time in the world. Coins like this tell a story of America's economy, its people, and its past. Owning a 1945 wheat penny is like holding a small piece of the past. Plus, collecting coins, whether common or rare, is an exciting hobby that can grow in value over time. And who knows, you might even stumble upon a rare error or variety in the future. The 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark is an uncommon, beloved piece of U.S. coinage. In fine condition, it's worth around $290,000, making it accessible to collectors of all levels. Whether you're a history buff, a coin enthusiast, or just curious about the value of old coins, the wheat penny is an excellent addition to any collection. Next up, we're taking a close look at a special and unique coin, the wheat penny 1 cent from 1934, with no mint mark, featuring a beautiful but faded red shade and in poor condition. In 1934, the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression. Pennies were made primarily from copper, with the wheat penny design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This particular design was produced between 1909 and 1958, and it's one of the most iconic coin series in American history. But what makes the 1934 version stand out is that many were produced without a mint mark, meaning they were minted at the Philadelphia Mint. While millions were made, the condition and any unique characteristics of the coin can greatly impact its value today. Grading systems are used to assess how well a coin has been preserved over the years. For this 1934 wheat penny, we're looking at poor condition, which means heavy wear and tear, possible scratches, and loss of definition in the coin's details. While coins in better conditions such as fine or mint state are more desirable, even poor condition coins like this one have their place in the market. While most wheat pennies have a typical brownish or copper color due to age, this one has a noticeable red tint. This red color is the result of its original copper finish that hasn't fully oxidized over the years. Even though the coin is in poor condition, the remaining red hue makes it stand out to collectors. In fact, pennies with red shading often hold higher values than those that have turned entirely brown. So, if you have a 1934 wheat penny with a bit of red left, even in poor condition, it could be worth more than you think. In today's collector market, a 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark in poor condition typically sells for around $200,000. That might sound like much. Here's where it gets interesting. If your 1934 wheat penny has retained that red shading, even in poor condition, collectors might be willing to pay a bit more. Depending on the amount of red and the specific demand at the time, the price could rise to $300,000. This won't make you rich overnight. For a coin that's in poor condition, that's a nice bump in value. Also, keep in mind that values fluctuate based on market demand, so if there's a surge of interest in wheat pennies, prices could increase in the future. Collectors love this coin for its historical value and the fact that it comes from an era when coins were made of real copper. Plus, wheat pennies are highly collectible in general because of their iconic design and the nostalgia they bring. Even coins in poor condition, like this one, have a place in collections, especially if they feature unique characteristics like that red tint we mentioned earlier. Always assess the coin's condition carefully. Even small details can impact its value. As we've seen with the red shade on this coin, small variations can make a big difference. Coin values fluctuate, so keeping an eye on trends can help you get the best price. The 1934 wheat penny, without a mint mark, in poor condition might be a fortune maker. It still holds value in today's market, especially with that unique red shade. If you've got one of these coins lying around, it's definitely worth a second look. Next up, we're talking about a piece of American history, the 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark, specifically one with an obverse black shade and in fine condition. If you've come across one of these coins or are just curious about their value, you're in for a treat. So, let's dive in. First things first, let's break down the basics. The wheat penny, or Lincoln wheat cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958, and it features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse or front side of the coin. On the reverse, you'll find two wheat stalks, hence the nickname wheat penny. The coin we're discussing today was struck in 1942 during a pivotal time in world history, right in the middle of World War II. 1942 was a significant year for the United States. The country had just entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the U.S. Mint was still producing millions of pennies during this time. However, materials were in high demand for the war effort, and soon after, the mint would switch to producing steel pennies to save copper for the war. But the 1942 wheat penny still contains the classic copper composition. Now, let's talk about the specifics of this 1942 wheat penny. One of the defining characteristics of the coin we're focusing on is the lack of a mint mark, which indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia was the primary mint for U.S. coinage and didn't include a mint mark on its coins at the time. So, if your 1942 penny doesn't have a mint mark, you're looking at one made in Philly. Another interesting feature of this coin is the obverse black shade. This discoloration could be the result of oxidation or environmental exposure over the years. It may necessarily increase the value. It does give the coin a unique appearance that some collectors might find interesting. Always remember that proper coin care and storage can help prevent further deterioration. So how does this black shade affect the value? Well, when it comes to coin grading, condition is key. Since this particular penny is in fine condition, it's a middle-of-the-road grade. Fine condition means some wear is visible, especially on Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse, but major details are still intact. The black shade might be seen as damage by some collectors, but others may view it as a sign of age or uniqueness. It all depends on the buyer. When we say fine condition, it means that the coin has seen circulation, but it's not heavily worn. On the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, a coin in fine condition would rank around 12 to 15. That's important to remember when we start talking about value. Now, let's get to what everyone's waiting for: the current market value of the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark. With obverse black shade in fine condition, typically ranges $350,000. Keep in mind that this is for a coin in circulated fine condition, and we're talking about a penny from over 80 years ago. Of course, condition plays a massive role. If you had a 1942 penny in mint or uncirculated condition, the value could rise significantly, sometimes even more, depending on the coin's rarity and demand in the market. Another factor that affects the value is collector demand. Wheat pennies are incredibly popular among both beginner and seasoned collectors, so there's always a market for them. The value might fluctuate over time depending on the broader coin market and historical significance. So is the 1942 wheat penny a jackpot coin? Maybe for this specific fine condition coin with the black shade, it's still a fascinating piece of history. Plus, the value can increase over time, especially as older coins become scarcer in decent condition. If you've got one in your collection, it's worth holding on to. Next up, we're exploring a unique piece of history, the wheat penny 1 cent 1946, without a mint mark, in red and black shades and graded in very fine condition. Could this penny be sitting in your collection right now, worth way more than you think? Let's find out. Before we jump into the value of this specific coin, let's take a quick look at its history. The 1946 wheat penny is part of the iconic Lincoln wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. After World War II ended in 1945, the United States was rebuilding. However, the coin we're focusing on today from 1946 was minted in Philadelphia. That's why you won't find a mint mark on it, because Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark on pennies at the time. Over 991 million of these coins were produced in Philadelphia alone. But don't let that large number fool you. Not every 1946 penny was created equal, especially when you add in unique features like color toning and condition. So, what makes the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark stand out today? Well, it's all about rarity in the form of toning and condition. The red and black shades on the penny, sometimes called a rainbow effect, occur due to chemical reactions over time. This toning can enhance its appeal to collectors. When you combine that with a very fine condition grade, suddenly, this penny is no ordinary find. Toning like this can occur from exposure to heat, moisture, or certain environmental conditions, but no two-toned coins are exactly alike. Some collectors are willing to pay a premium for these beautiful natural color effects. In our case, the combination of red and black tones adds even more intrigue and rarity. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. It's graded as very fine. In coin collecting, condition plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. A very fine VF grade means the coin shows moderate wear, but most of the important details are still clearly visible. You can still see the wheat stalks on the reverse side and the details of Lincoln's face on the obverse. In terms of color, collectors prefer a penny with red toning because it indicates the coin hasn't been heavily circulated. But in this case, the red and black shading offers a one-of-a-kind look. Even with the wear, the toning brings a premium due to its uniqueness. So, you're probably wondering, what is this 1946 wheat penny worth in today's collector market? Well, this coin's value can vary greatly depending on demand, toning, and the collector. As of today, a regular 1946 wheat penny in very fine condition typically sells for anywhere between $200,000. However, when you add the red and black toning effect, we're looking at a value that can reach $600,000 or more, depending on how striking the toning is and the interest of buyers. In fact, some uniquely toned coins, especially with vibrant colors like red and black, have sold for even higher. If a collector sees beauty in the color contrast, they're likely to bid much more, which can drive up the price in auction settings. So what should you do if you think you have a 1946 wheat penny with red and black toning in very fine condition? First, handle your coin carefully. Use gloves or hold it by the edges to avoid damaging the surface. Once your coin is graded, you can either add it to your personal collection or list it for sale at a marketplace like eBay, Great Collections, or Heritage Auctions. Be sure to highlight the toning in your listing, because that's what could set your coin apart from others. The 1946 wheat penny, without a mint mark, may seem like just another coin, but with unique toning, it can become a highly sought-after collector's item. Red and black toning, paired with a very fine condition, can push the value of this coin well beyond a standard wheat penny from the same year. So check your collections, because you never know what hidden gems you might be sitting on. Next up, we're uncovering the hidden gem that is the 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark. You might be surprised to learn just how much value this seemingly ordinary coin can hold. Stay tuned as we explore its history, condition, and current collector market value. The year was 1937, an era deeply marked by the Great Depression. America was slowly recovering from the economic downfall of the 1930s, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, which had been in circulation since 1909. These pennies were an essential part of everyday transactions, but over time, their historical significance has turned them into treasures for collectors. The 1937 wheat penny features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design became iconic and has been a staple of U.S. coinage for over a century. On the reverse side, we see two wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent, hence the name wheat penny. It's a simple yet powerful design that evokes nostalgia and history. So, what makes the 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark special? Well, coins minted without a mint mark were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the largest mint in operation. Philadelphia coins are generally more common than those from other mints, but that doesn't mean this coin isn't valuable. Now, while this 1937 penny without a mint mark might be more common than its Denver D or San Francisco S counterparts, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. When evaluating the value of a coin, condition is king. The 1937 wheat penny we're discussing today is in fine condition, which means it has seen some circulation but still retains decent detail. In fine condition, you'll notice moderate wear on Lincoln's face and hair, but the overall details of the design are still visible in comparison to more worn or good condition coins. A fine condition penny has a clearer image of Lincoln, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are still well defined, although they may show some flattening. So, the big question, how much is this 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition worth in today's collector market? Well, the value of this coin can vary depending on demand, but generally you can expect to see prices ranging from $210,000. For coins in higher conditions, especially those graded by professional services, the value can go up significantly. A 1937 wheat penny in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, high price. But why do collectors love the 1937 wheat penny? First of all, it's part of the classic Lincoln wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. This series is highly collectible due to its historical value and unique design. Every year in the wheat penny series is significant to coin collectors, especially those looking to complete a full set from every mint and year. Additionally, because the 1937 penny was minted in high numbers, it's accessible to beginner collectors while still holding enough value to interest more experienced numismatists. This accessibility makes it a fantastic piece for anyone starting their collection or adding to a growing one. So, should you buy or sell a 1937 wheat penny in fine condition if you're just starting out in coin collecting or you're looking for an affordable addition to your collection? The 1937 penny is a great choice. It's affordable, has historical value, and is part of one of the most iconic coin series in American history. On the flip side, if you're looking to sell, now might be a great time. The collector market remains strong, and while this coin might not make you a fortune, it can definitely fetch a nice return for a coin that's been circulating for nearly a century. Next up, we're talking about one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in American history, the 1944 with D wheat penny. This particular penny, minted in Denver, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, especially in circulated condition. But what makes it so special? And more importantly, what's it worth in today's market? Let's find out. To understand why this 1944 with D wheat penny is such a coveted collector's item, we need to take a quick trip back to the early 1940s. The United States was in the midst of World War II, and resources like copper were critical for the war effort. In 1943, the U.S. Mint made pennies out of zinc-coated steel instead of copper, resulting in the well-known steel penny. However, by 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to using copper for pennies, but from an unexpected source in 1944, the copper used for pennies came from recycled shell casings and ammunition that were left over from the war. This means every 1944 with D penny has a connection to the war effort. Isn't that incredible? So, what does the D on this penny mean? Well, the D stands for the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's primary production facilities. In 1944, the Denver Mint produced over 430 million wheat pennies. While that may sound like a large number, finding one in great condition today isn't as easy as you'd think. Over the years, many of these pennies have been lost, damaged, or heavily circulated. But for coin collectors, 4 with D wheat penny can hold significant value, depending on the condition. Alright, now let's talk about condition. When a coin is described as circulated, it means the coin has been used in everyday transactions and shows signs of wear. For the 1944 with D wheat penny, circulated condition can vary widely from poor, fine, good, and very fine, and this will have a big impact on its value. Some key things to look for when determining the condition of a circulated wheat penny are the visibility of Abraham Lincoln's face, the clarity of the wheat stalks on the reverse, and the overall surface wear. A penny with light wear but clear details will be valued much higher than one that's more worn out. Now, let's get to the big question you've all been waiting for. What's this 1944 with D wheat penny worth in today's market? As of today, the collector market for the 1944 with D wheat penny in circulated condition is thriving. Here's a general breakdown. In circulated fine condition, where the details are a bit more visible, this penny can sell for around $300,000 depending on the exact wear and market demand. But here's where things get interesting. Did you know that there are some error varieties of the 1944 with D penny that can sell for much, much more? One of the most sought-after errors for the 1944 with D penny is the D over S variety, where a Denver Mint mark was mistakenly stamped over a San Francisco Mint mark. These error coins are rare and can sell for millions of dollars depending on their condition. So, if you ever come across a 1944 with D penny, be sure to check the mint mark closely. You could be sitting on a small fortune. The 1944 with D wheat penny is not only a piece of history but also a coin that can hold substantial value in today's collector market. Even in circulated condition, these pennies are worth more value, and if you're lucky enough to find one in great shape or with a rare error, it could be worth quite a bit more. Next up, we're diving deep into a true American classic, the 1957 with D Wheat penny. But not just any 1957 with D penny, one that has stood the test of time, showing signs of wear and dirt, yet still holding its ground in the world of coin collecting. We'll uncover what makes this coin so special, how much it's worth today in very fine and dirt-stained condition, and what factors impact its market value. So let's jump right in. Before we talk about value, let's take a step back and look at the history of this little coin. The 1957 with D Wheat penny was minted in Denver, Colorado, and it's part of the iconic wheat cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. This was one of the last wheat pennies to be made before the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial Cent in 1959. On the front, we have Abraham Lincoln's portrait, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. The reverse side features the classic wheat ears design, which has become a favorite among collectors. The D Mint mark below the date tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. With over 1 billion wheat pennies minted in 1957, it's common, but certain factors can still make it valuable. So, what makes a 1957 with D Wheat penny stand out in today's collector market? Let's break it down into 3 key factors: condition, rarity, and demand. First up, condition. A coin's condition is the single most important factor in determining its value. Coin grading goes from poor to mint state. In this case, we're looking at a coin in very fine VF condition. That means it's been circulated but still has a lot of detail visible on Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks. While the presence of dirt might seem like a negative, in some cases collectors enjoy the natural look of a coin that's been through the ages. As long as the dirt hasn't corroded the metal or hidden key details, it doesn't always dramatically lower the value. In fact, some collectors even find it charming. Now let's talk about value. As of today, a 1957 with D Wheat penny in very fine condition can range in value depending on its features. If it's in standard circulated condition, without any major flaws, it typically sells for around $170,000. But if it's in very fine condition like the one we're talking about today, even with some dirt on its surface, it can go for a little more. Generally, you're looking at around $190,000 per coin for a very fine condition 1957 with D penny. But what about those rare cases where the coin fetches even more? In certain circumstances, if a penny is in extremely fine condition with minimal wear and an appealing look, despite the dirt, it can fetch a couple of dollars or more from the right collector. If the penny happens to have any errors or rare minting marks such as double die obverse or a repunched mint mark, that value could skyrocket. Now, some of you might be wondering, what about the dirt? Isn't that going to lower the value? Well, the answer is, it depends. Dirt on a coin can either add to its historical charm or detract from its appeal, depending on the collector. While some prefer shiny, clean coins, others appreciate the patina and evidence of a penny's long journey through American history. In cases where dirt doesn't obscure important details, the value doesn't take much of a hit. Cleaning a coin is often discouraged by collectors because it can reduce its value. So if you have a dirt-stained coin like this one, consider leaving it in its natural state. So there you have it. The story of the 1957 with D Wheat penny in very fine and dirt-stained condition. Even though it may be a rare coin, it's still a fascinating piece of American history that holds a certain value for collectors. Whether you're holding on to one for sentimental reasons, or you're hoping to make a few extra bucks, it's always worth learning more about what you have. Next up, we're diving deep into one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatics, the 1955 with D Wheat penny. If you're a collector or just curious about coins, you won't want to miss this. Let's start with a bit of history. The Wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln penny, was minted in the United States from 1909 to 1958. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity. The 1955 with D Wheat penny was minted in Denver, which is denoted by the D Mint mark. But why is this particular year and mint mark so special? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. In 1955, the U.S. Mint produced approximately 6 million pennies with the D Mint mark. That might not sound like a lot. The rarity comes from the coin's condition and the demand among collectors. The 1955 with D Wheat penny is highly sought after in fine to very fine condition, but if you find one in red shaded very fine condition, you could be holding a real treasure. Now, what do we mean by very fine condition? Coin grading is a way to assess a coin's quality and preservation, with different scales ranging from poor to perfect mint state. A very fine 1955 with D Wheat penny will have distinct details with only slight wear, and a red or red-brown hue can significantly increase its value. So, what's this coin worth today? In recent years, the value of a 1955 with D Wheat penny in very fine condition has skyrocketed. Depending on its specific quality and market demand, you could see prices ranging from $800,000. However, if you're lucky enough to find one in uncirculated or higher grades, values can soar into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It's important to check the latest market trends to get the most accurate valuation. If you're looking to buy or sell a 1955 with D wheat penny, there are several avenues you can explore. Online marketplaces, dedicated coin auction sites, and local coin shops are great places to start. Always remember to do your research and verify the authenticity of any coins you purchase. There are plenty of counterfeit coins out there, especially for those with high collector value. Here are some quick tips for aspiring collectors. Familiarize yourself with different grades and values. Always handle coins by the edges and wear gloves to prevent oils from your skin damaging the coin's surface. Use appropriate storage methods like coin holders or albums to protect your collection. So, there you have it. The 1955 with D wheat penny is more than just a coin, it's a piece of history with a significant place in the collector's market. Whether you're looking to add it to your collection or just appreciate its beauty, this coin has a lot to offer. Next up, we're focusing on a classic American coin that holds significant value in today's collector market, the wheat penny, specifically the 1940 without a mint mark. If you've got one of these in your collection, you might want to stick around to learn about its worth and what makes it so special. The 1940 wheat penny is a part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909. This coin features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat ears on the reverse. What makes the 1940 penny particularly interesting is its historical context and its place in the series. Let's take a quick history lesson. The wheat penny was produced from 1909 to 1958, during which time it underwent several design changes. The 1940 penny was minted in the midst of World War II, a time of significant change for America. While many coins were made during this era, the 1940s wheat pennies are unique because they represent a transitional period in American history. Now, let's talk about the specifics of the 1940 penny without a mint mark. The absence of a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia, which is the original minting location for Lincoln pennies. This detail is crucial for collectors because it adds to the coin's rarity and desirability. So what's the collector market value for the 1940 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition? As of today, this coin can be valued anywhere from $310,000 in fine condition, depending on its specific grade and overall appeal. In numismatic terms, a coin in fine condition is one that shows moderate wear but still retains most of its design features. You should be able to see the details on Lincoln's face, and the wheat stalks on the reverse should be fairly visible. If you have one of these that is graded higher, say very fine or extra fine, the value can jump significantly. The demand for the 1940 wheat penny has increased as more collectors become interested in these historic coins. As the years go by, the population of available specimens in fine condition decreases, which can drive up prices even more. If you're a collector, having a well-preserved 1940 penny could be a fantastic addition to your collection. Now, if you're considering selling your 1940 wheat penny, it's important to know where to look. Online marketplaces, specialized coin shops, and local coin shows can be great places to assess the current market value. Make sure to check recent sales for similar coins to get an accurate sense of what buyers are willing to pay. Also, be cautious of over-enthusiastic pricing. While the 1940 wheat penny does have value, it's essential to have realistic expectations and understand the difference between asking prices and actual sale prices. So in summary, the 1940 wheat penny without a mint mark is more than just a piece of change. It's a piece of American history that's gaining traction among collectors. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out, adding this penny to your collection could be a wise investment. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins in your collection, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for updates on our latest content. Share your thoughts about the 1940 wheat penny in the comments below. Do you have one? What condition is it in? We'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching and keep collecting. Until next time, happy hunting.